I was talking to someone today, and then we were talking about New Year resolutions, and one of the things that came up was 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 that the year has started, and he doesn't know what the year will hold because he can only know about it when he's into the year, like half of the year. Then he can say that something has happened or not. So because this is peculiar to everyone, who tries to think, can you accomplish the things that you want to accomplish, and how can you do that after all? Because we have doubts. We all have doubts. We all have fears of what could be. So sometimes people can just do, like, they don't have to plan about it, because if you plan about it, you are not sure what will happen. Because if you plan about it and then something else happens, then you start to regret, and to be more fearful of trying to do new plans, because you're afraid that something will happen that will hinder you to do whatever you want. But I think there is a way about this. I think you can find a way to motivate yourself to overcome some fears and some self doubts. We know from the Bible about the doubting Thomases. There are lots of people who don't believe anything. They always have doubt faced about doing anything. But you might end up now not doing absolutely anything because you are doubting that if you set it that you want to do it, then you won't be able to do it. And then when that happens, you don't know. So it is the unknown factor which can make you go more into self-doubting and more fears into what could happen. But what could happen is something that should not stop you to do the things you want to do. I believe it should not stop you. I have something that I really want to say, and it is knowing yourself. Because there used to be somebody who used to tell me I'm good in something, and I used to say, thank you, but I was self doubting myself. Not that I'm good, but accepting that I am good in that skill. So I think one of the best things to do is actually knowing yourself, because by knowing yourself, then you are able to put more steps into what you want to do. But how do you do that? This is somewhere where everyone can say easier said than done. It is true. It is true. It is easier said than done. But knowing yourself means you have to put things into place of understanding what you did and then reflecting on those things. Because if you reflect into what you did, you are able to find more things about yourself and therefore improve or get that encouragement and motivation to do more. You have to identify a lot of things that you are good at and then try to connect the dots, connect everything together to find out something you can excel in. Because building skills is one of the best things that ever happened to me. I could say that by building the skills, I was able to know more about myself, my capabilities, things that I should concentrate on, and then things that I don't have to concentrate on. So this is something which is in my picture, something evolving. You don't get this from day one, then everything is done. I don't think it would be possible to do that. To just say, now I know what I am, I know who I am, and then the whole world uh, uh, has to end or something like that. Okay, I'm gonna cut that. That did not make sense at all. So the next thing that I think should happen is that if you believe, if you try to understand yourself, it encourages you to understand that you are special. By being special, I don't mean by being arrogant. By being special means you are unique in your own self, because the challenges that come to you are special for you. It's your challenges. These challenges, even if everyone is facing the same challenge, the experience that you have on that challenge is so unique to each and every person, even if something is happening at the same time. We all have watched those end of the world movies where people are running and trying to escape at the same time, and they even go into worse situations. So this is the beginning of understanding yourself. It's understanding who you are, and then it's building upon that, and then building skills, and then building that a way so to communicate with everyone. Okay, you have to cut that. Okay, what I'm gonna do now, I'm just gonna continue talking, and then the rest of the things are gonna be sliced by the editor. Okay, so when we have said that, you have learned more about yourself. You have identified your ownness. Your ownness. Does that word even exist? I don't think that word exists. Who says your ownness? Your individualität. In German, maybe. Because by doing that, you can then also do something I call mimicking. This is learning from others. What I mean by that, I've always put people who I admire on a specific or a certain thing that they do, and I try to do as best as I can the same way they do it. Up to until recently, I would actually go to someone and ask them, how do you save files on your computer? Or how do you write notes? Or how do you prepare the day? Do you do it before you go to sleep, in the morning? And it's because some people just seem to remember everything. And then one guy actually told me he actually struggles, and I couldn't believe it, that he actually struggles. But he did. He struggled, but the way he did, his process, his modeling, was that it looked easier from outside. So from outside, you see it quite easily. But from their side, wow, they are putting as much effort as possible in order to have that continuity in what they are doing. It's amazing. Then I think by learning from others, by mimicking, by modeling from what others, I think there's a psychological experiment where they say that children learn by looking at what the elders are doing. For example, if someone is sewing or knitting, the children sees that, then when they are told, then they do it, and by doing that, the skill is learned inside the village. Well, I was born in a village anyway. Okay, what is the last thing I wanted to talk to you about? By doing these two things of understanding yourself, learning from others, it means then if you're self-doubting, the next easiest thing you can do is the hardest part, which is finding the root cause of your doubting. How do you do that? From my perspective, I think finding your root cause is basically reflecting on what you did, how it happened, and what you are going to do about it. If you keep on self-reflecting, the empathy, sympathy between or inside the emotions that you have will actually trigger things that will say, okay, so I did something wrong and I want to do it right. And I think if I follow that guy, which I saw, which is the step 2 I was talking about, mimicking others, let me try to do how he does things. And by doing that, you'll find yourself in a position to find the mistakes you do and changing that habit. It's just turning it a little bit so that it becomes easier for you to move on, because this is very difficult, to reflect on the things that you can't do. You have to figure out ways how to overcome things, because they don't just come. You see, some things are there to scare you off to do the biggest thing. So in order for you to move on, or in order for all of us to move on, is to understand that self-doubt is always going to come, that we all have fears, but that there is a way to overcome it. So we need to upskill. It doesn't matter what skill you're talking about, mountain climbing, I don't know, skiing, football. I don't know what that talent you want will be. But self-doubt is in the mind. So therefore, it's training our mind to have an identity of its own, to be that word which I said at the beginning, to have our own ownness. Ownness. That's a very good word. If Shakespeare found words, I can find words as well, right? So we need to find our ownness, our own identity, our individuality. And then we need to find models that we can build upon. And from those models, we can reflect what we are doing and the steps we are taking. And by doing that, we are able now to build on it. That was good. That was good. See you on the next one. So identify who you are. And it's a long journey. It's not something that happens on day one. So don't self-doubt yourself. Just know it's a journey. Because in that journey, I believe, is where you find yourself, by making sure, by understanding that it takes one step at a time. Let's cut all that shit. Actually, when I started this topic, I was self-doubting because I wasn't sure how much effort I was gonna put into it. So now that I have finished, I feel quite relieved about this. So, and once again, have a good one. This turning the mindset, extreme mindsets.